F1 2020's Breaking Point. Does it live up to the hype? Well, that really depends on your expectations for Breaking Point. As for someone like me who has played many story-driven game modes like My Player in NBA 2K, The Journey in FIFA, just to name a few, I was therefore expecting it to be a cheesy storyline with some terrible jokes and some bad acting. And following on from F1 2019's attempt at a story mode, it's safe to say I wasn't expecting much. However, credit where it's due, Codemasters have done a much better job this time round, and it's definitely worth a playthrough, even if that's just to get you up to speed with the game. Yes, hello everyone, I hope you're all doing well, and if this is your first time watching one of my videos, hi, I'm Jumbo. So in this video we will be looking at what I liked and didn't like about Breaking Point, as well as some Easter eggs and references you might have missed. Right then, let's get straight into it. The Breaking Point story follows two drivers at the opposite ends of their driving careers. We have Aiden Jackson, the young hotshot driver trying to make his way to the top of F1, and also we have Casper Akkerman, a feisty Dutch driver in his latter stages of his career. There is also the returning wind-up merchant Devon Butler from the F1 2019 story mode, and just like in F1 2019, he is a massive wang. Thank you, Crofty. Throughout the story, you take on both sides of the garage with different situations and challenges presenting themselves for each driver over the 16 chapters. All in all, it should take you around 6 to 8 hours to complete the story. At the beginning, you can choose from 3 difficulty levels: normal, challenging, and hard. And I did the playthrough on hard, and I was comfortably able to complete every challenge without trying too hard. So if you're half familiar with racing games, you shouldn't have any problems. But if you need to or want to, you can change the difficulty throughout the story, so don't worry about choosing the wrong difficulty at the beginning. After that's done, you can choose one of 5 teams for the story to take place at, these being AlphaTauri, Racing Point / Aston Martin, Alfa Romeo, Haas, and finally Williams. Once that's done, you're pretty much ready to go. Well, for starters, it looks great. The first thing you will notice when you get into Breaking Point is just how good the cutscenes look. And that's because Codemasters went all in on the cinematic scenes, but on top of that, they also hired an external production team to do the script and acting. And overall, it has paid off massively. Not only does it look great, but the character models are very believable. I also enjoyed the scenario and challenge-based objectives, from the likes of trying to nurse the car home with it missing some gears, to making sure your teammate doesn't get past. It all adds to a level of attachment between the characters and you, the player. However, this is something that then quickly goes away when you're thrown into a 25% race with no real objective or goal, and it purely feels like they did this just to draw out the story a bit. That being said, it does provide you with some more time to get up to speed with the game's new mechanics. So it's not necessarily a bad thing, it just slows down the momentum of the story a bit. I also like the small details like the cutscenes being in the cinematic ratio, just so you know when you're in one, and also the transition out of the cutscenes into the mid-race scenarios is pretty much seamless too. Overall, the general presentation of Breaking Point is very good and well polished. You can tell that this has been their big feature and game mode this year, which leads me on to... Now this might be a bit of a controversial one, but the biggest problem for me is that Breaking Point has been their main focus this year. Don't get me wrong, Breaking Point is very good, and I would recommend that if you have or you're going to get F1 2021, that you should do a playthrough of the Breaking Point story. But I can't help but feel that all the time and resources that Codemasters would have spent on Breaking Point could have been better used elsewhere. I'm pretty sure you guys are aware, but I am not a game developer, so I don't want to be too critical here, but the game is missing 3 of the tracks that are part of the official F1 2021 calendar, being Imola, Portimao and Jeddah. Also technically it's now 4 if you count Istanbul Park in Turkey as well. Now these will be coming at a later date, although I'm not sure if they're planning to add Turkey or not, but still I'm pretty sure I'm not the only fan of this series that is a little bit disappointed that they're not there from the off. On top of this, we are also missing updated track layouts to Spain and Australia. Now, it must be a bit of a nightmare for Codemasters with the constant fluctuation of the F1 calendar this season, as well as people are still working from home, etc. But to me, these are more important things that should have been more of a priority than the story mode of Breaking Point. On top of all of this, Breaking Point only lasts 8 hours max, and once you have played it, there isn't really much incentive to go back and play it again. And it's not exactly an asset that they can transfer over to next year's game or even future games. Like, for example, if they had created a livery designer similar to the likes that Forza and GT Sport have, this could be something that could be used for the next 5 or even 10 F1 games. And I'm pretty sure that that's something everyone would love and would ultimately spend a lot more time using than the Breaking Point story mode. I understand that this can seem like I'm painting quite a negative picture towards Breaking Point, but the fact that I didn't really have any problems with it at all, except for one minor audio bug where I could hear the other cars really loud compared to my own car, shows that it is a very well built game mode, and I'm pretty sure this is something that they can easily fix with a patch or update. Okay, so I think I've been pretty good at not giving too much away to this point, but this last section there are some spoilers, so you have been warned. Okay, still here? Good. Now I'm pretty sure that I will have missed some things or forgot to put them in, so if you know anything I've missed then let me know in the comments. So Devon Butler is not the only returning character from F1 2019. We also get Lucas Weber, who was your teammate from that game mode as well. We don't actually see his face I don't think, although I may have missed that, but he is a journalist now, so you see him in the social media feed. You also get some emails from him when you're Casper Akkerman, and you can also see that he does some news reports on the TV as well. When Lando Norris's character says this line,
I don't know who this is going to.
That is actually Lando Norris's voice, so they actually have credited him in the credits as well, so if you don't know, that is actually Lando Norris doing that part, which is pretty cool. You can also replay Breaking Point if you want, and you would still gain the same XP as if it was your first playthrough, so if you're trying to grind some XP for the season pass, maybe this is a good way of doing it. And if you are going to replay it, you can also skip the cutscenes. Obviously I wouldn't do this on the first time round as that's kind of the main point, but if you want to do it the second time, you just want to do the challenges and stuff, if you hold down X on the PlayStation or A on the Xbox, you should be able to skip the cutscene. When you're checking your emails on your laptop, you can see along the taskbar at the bottom that there's actually a tab open for the F1 2020 game. I wonder what game mode they're playing. When you're having an interview with Claire, the answers you actually give won't affect anything in the story. All they do is just affect the tone of the email you will receive from the team. So if you're slagging them off, don't expect a friendly email back. Once you complete Breaking Point, you will be booted out to the main menu. However, if you go back into that same save of Breaking Point, you will see that there is an email from Toto Wolff pretty much asking him to join Mercedes. Also, there is another email there from Zoe Ackerman, who is Casper Ackerman's wife, and she pretty much asks if they want to meet up for a dinner before they all break off and go their separate ways. Ah, isn't that nice? So there's quite a few people on the social media feed, which we'll go through now. So you have fellow YouTubers in Arava, Tio McMarduk, Dave Gaming, Jimmy Broadbent, Matty G, Maximi MXM, not sure if I've got that one right, Tommy T999, and Into the Barrier. We also have some ex-drivers / medias and reporters in David Coulthard, Anthony Davison, David Croft, Jack Nichols, Jess McFadden, John Noble, Karun Chanduk, Matthew Summerfield, Natalie Pinkham, Rosanna Tennant, and finally Will Buxton. Also looking at the main cast from Breaking Point, we have Aidan Felgate playing Aiden Jackson, Jerry Anderson playing Brian Doyle, Christopher Dane playing Casper Akkerman. The voice of Devon Butler is performed by Daniel Ben Zenu, and his likeness is Adam Sanderson, who I believe was on Tia McMarduk's channel recently, and he seems like a really nice guy. And finally, Zoe Ackerman is played by Kerry Bennett. So going back to the question, does Breaking Point live up to the hype? And I would have to say yes. Yes it does. Because for those 6 to 8 hours of playing the story, it is very enjoyable, and I would recommend that you play it. But whether it is worth all the effort in the long term for the F1 2021 game, well, that remains to be seen. Anyway, that's my thoughts on Breaking Point. Let me know what you think about Breaking Point in the comments below.